Hello dear students. Today I will discuss part 5 of Unit 8 coordination compound. As in previous lecture, that is part 4, I told you about some theories regarding to the bonding in complex compound. In that theory, I explain Werner's theory in detail, and according to Werner, metals show two type of linkage, that is valencies, that is primary and secondary valencies. I also told you that the primary valencies are normally ionizable and satisfied by negative ions, and it also referred to oxidation state of metal atom. That means the oxidation of state of metal atom denote the primary valency of the metal, and the secondary valencies are basically non-ionizable and are satisfied by either negative ions or neutral molecules or sometimes or rarely positively charged ion. I also told you that the secondary valency is equal to the coordination number, and due to secondary valency, the metals have characteristics special arrangement. I also told that Werner postulated that the most common geometrical shape of coordination compounds are octahedral, tetrahedral and square planar. Then I told you about the limitation of Werner theory. Then I also told you experimental evidence to the Werner's theory of complexes which can be provided on the basis of precipitation of primary valency and electrical conductance of complexes. So now dear students, let us focus on the part 5. So after studying part 5, you will be able to understand the nature of bonding in a coordination compound in term of valence bond theory, that is BBT, and also you will be able to know the limitation of valence bond theory. So dear students, in this lecture I explained the second theory of related to bonding in complex compound, that is valence bond theory. So now look at focus on the valence bond theory. In short form it is written like this, BBT. So look at here, the valence bond theory deals with the electronic structure of central metal ion in its ground state, kind of bonding, geometry and magnetic properties of complexes. This theory takes into account the hybridization of vacant orbitals of central metal ion and was proposed by Linus Pauling. That is, valence bond theory was given by Linus Pauling using the hybridized orbitals. So now dear students, let us focus on the main postulate of valence bond theory. So the main points of valence bond theory are as follows. Now, according to valence bond theory, the metal atom or ion under the influence of ligand can use its n-1d, that is inner d orbitals, ns, np or ns, np, nd, that is outer d orbitals, for hybridization to yield a set of equivalent orbitals of definite geometry such as octahedral, tetrahedral, square planar and so on. Then the hybrid metals orbital then overlap with those ligand orbitals which can donate an electron pair for bonding. That means the ligand orbital should have at least one lone pair which can overlap with the hybrid metal orbitals to form bonding. In this way, a bond is formed between metal ion and the ligand's donor atom. Now, the resulting complex will be diamagnetic if all the electrons are paired, this I also told you so many times, that electrons are paired, so these molecules, compounds are known as diamagnetic. If electrons are unpaired, then complex will be paramagnetic. This I also told you that in case of paired electron, the complex is diamagnetic, but in case of unpaired electrons, the complex is paramagnetic. Now let us consider a few examples to explain the valence bond theory over the complexes. So first of all, let us focus on the octahedral complexes according to valence bond theory. So on the basis of valence bond theory, octahedral complexes are of two types, that is inner orbital complex or outer orbital complex. So look at here. First of all, you have to focus on the inner orbital complex. This is also known as low spin octahedral complex. Either it is also known as spin paired or hyperligated octahedral complex. So look at here, what is the condition for inner orbital complex? So when the complex formed involve inner n-1d orbitals for hybridization of, that is d2 sp3, so the complex is known as inner orbital complex. Look at here, the electrons are made to pair, so complex will be either diamagnetic or has less unpaired electron, that means less paramagnetic. So dear students, look the example, square bracket vanadium water का whole 5, square bracket 3 plus, then square bracket CO NH3 का whole 6, square bracket 3 plus charge, then chromium NH3 का whole 6, square bracket 3 plus charge, FeCN का whole 6, square bracket 4 minus charge. So these are some common examples of inner orbital complex. Now second, that is outer orbital complex. It is also known as high spin octahedral complex or spin free octahedral complex or hypoligated octahedral complexes. So look at here, when complexes formed uses outer d orbitals for hybridization, then it will form sp3d2 hybridization, and the complex is known as outer orbital complex. So this I also told you in the classification of complex, on the basis of d orbitals used, the complexes may be inner orbital or outer orbital. Now it has large number of unpaired electrons, so that's why it is paramagnetic in nature due to presence of unpaired electrons, and it is also a high spin because now electrons are unpaired, so they have more movement of electrons, that's why they can told that this is high spin complex. Now some examples are given here. For example, CO F6 square bracket 3 minus, then Fe water का whole 6 square bracket 3 plus, Fe F6 square bracket 3 minus, CO F6 square bracket 3 minus, nickel NH3 का whole 6 square bracket 2 plus. So these are some common examples of inner orbital complex and outer orbital complex are given here. Now dear students, let us focus how the formation of octahedral complex according to valence bond theory take place. So first of all, we have taken the example of inner orbital complex. Here one example are taken, FeCN का whole 6 square bracket 3 minus. So now how can you write about the inner orbital complex according to valence bond theory? So first of all, you have to write like this, Fe atom, atomic number 26 in the ground state. So the ground state configuration is 3d6, 4s2 and 4p0. Look the orbital diagram. Here 3d6 6 electrons and 4 is shown 2 electrons and 4p show the no electrons in their orbitals. Now when orbitals of Fe3 plus ions can be drawn, because here the charge or ion is plus 3. So look that the orbitals of Fe3 plus ion. Now 3 electrons are removed, 2 electrons from 4s and 1 electron from 3d. So now the 4s is also vacant and 3d contains 3d5 condition. Now D2sp3 hybridized orbitals of Fe3 plus ion. In that condition, the pairing of electron take place and 2 inert d orbitals are vacant for D2sp3 hybrid orbitals like this. So now students, finally you have to write the formation of FeCN6 3- complex like this. Here the 6 pair of electrons from 6 Cn- ion, which are denoted by the cross, and 1 unpaired electrons are left in the d orbitals. So that's why the complex is paramagnetic and octahedral. You can also find the value of magnetic moment by the formula mu equal to under root n plus 2. Here n equal to 1. So that's why you can put the value of n in the given formula and you can find the value of mu is under root 3 Bohr magneton. So by this way you can write the formation of complex according to valence bond theory. So this is basically inner orbital complex. Here one examples are explained. Now you can try so many examples which are given in the inner orbital complex like this, so that you will be confident in the writing the formation of complex according to valence bond theory. Now the students, second, outer orbital complex. Here one example taken, CO F6 square bracket 3 minus. Again same patterns follow. First of all, write the electronic configuration of CO atom having the atomic number 27 in the ground state. So this contains 3d7, 4s2, 4p0. Now the orbitals of CO3 plus ion, that means 3 electrons are removed, 2 from 4s and 1 from 3d. Now the 3d contains 6 electrons and 4s 0, 4p again 0. Now in sp3d2 hybridized orbitals, what happened basically? 4s, 3 4p and 2 orbitals from 4d are used. So that's why this is known as outer orbital complex. So look the condition. The 6 empty sp3d2 hybridized orbitals like this you have to write. Now lastly similar pattern will be follow as in inner orbital complex, the formation of CO F6 square bracket 3 minus. Now the 6 electrons, that is 6 pair of electrons denoted by the 6 F minus ions are shown by the cross, and this denote the formation of outer orbital complex. Now the students, in this complex it is 4d x2 dash y2 and 4d z2 orbitals that mix with 1s and 3p orbitals to give 6 sp3d2 hybrid orbitals, which being empty except the 6th electron pair donated by each of the 6 F minus ligand. It is paramagnetic as there are 4 unpaired electrons. Basically it is highly paramagnetic due to more number of unpaired electrons. You can calculate the value of magnetic moment, that is mu, like this: mu equal to under root n plus 2. Here n is 4, so that's why we get under root 24 bm. So this is the value of magnetic moment for this complex. This shows that the complex is highly paramagnetic. So now let us focus on the formation of square planar complexes by valence bond theory having the coordination number 4. So look at here, d orbitals should be dx2 y2 orbitals, while s and p orbitals should be from higher shell. The two p orbitals should be px and py orbitals. One more question may be asking about the selection of dx2y2 px py orbitals. So look at here, the selection of dx2 y2 px and py orbitals is based on the fact that all these orbitals lie in the same plane. Now dear students, let us focus on a complex that is square planar complex. So now let us focus on the formation of square planar complexes by valence bond theory having the coordination number 4. So look at here, d orbitals should be dx2 y2 orbitals, while s and p orbitals should be from higher shell. The two p orbitals should be px and py orbitals. One more question may be asking about the selection of dx2 y2 px py orbitals. So look at here, the selection of dx2 y2 px and py orbitals is based on the fact that all these orbitals lie in the same plane. Now dear students, let us focus on a complex that is square planar complex. So dear students, let us first of all write the atomic number of nickel and electronic configuration of nickel in ground state. So look the orbital diagram. Just note that 3d, 8, 4s2 and 4p0. So this is the ground state electronic configuration of outermost shell. Now the orbital of Ni2 plus ion, this is because in this complex Ni is in +2 state. So now the loss of 2 electron take place from 4s orbital. Now again 3d8, 4s0 and 4p0. Now dear students, since Cn is strong field ligands and 1 orbitals needed to form dsp2 hybridization, so that's why the pairing of d electron take place and 1 vacant orbitals of d used for dsp2 hybridization like this. So look at here, dsp2 hybridized orbitals of nickel. So d contains 8 electrons. Now 1 orbitals are vacant because of strong field Cn ligands, but according to valence bond theory they don't know about the strong field and weak field. So only you have to write that due to the presence of Cn ligands, pairing of d electron take place. That's why 1 d orbitals are vacant for dsp2 hybridization. Now formation of NiCN4 square bracket 2 minus complex. So look at here in the diagram, 4 electrons pair donated by 4 Cn minus are given. 1 p orbitals are vacant, that is 4 p orbitals, because it only required 1d, 1s and 2 p orbitals for dsp2 hybridization. So these are about the formation of NiCN4 square bracket 2 minus. So dear students, you have to focus basically on the formation of complexes according to valence bond theory like this. Now all the electrons are paired, so that's why this complex is diamagnetic in nature and geometry is square planar. So now dear students, let us see the formation of tetrahedral complexes having the coordination number 4 by valence bond theory. So look at here, one example is there, NiCO का whole 4 square bracket complex. Here Ni atom have atomic number 28 in the ground state configuration, written like this, 3d8, 4s2, 4p0, and you know that here the nickel have 0 charge, so the second step are removed from here. Now the hybridized sp3 orbitals of nickel. So due to presence of CO, that is the strong field ligands, pairing of electrons of 4s2 take place in 3d. So that's why now the 4s orbitals are vacant like this. See the diagram, and this confirm sp3 hybridization. Now the formation of NiCO4 complex. So look the condition. Here all electrons are paired in d orbitals, and 4 electron pair donated by CO molecules are in 1s and 3 4p orbitals. So here XX, that is cross, is seen the 4 pair of electrons denoted by 4 CO molecules. So by this way, the formation of this type of complex, that is tetrahedral complex, take place according to valence bond theory. Nowadays students, let us focus on the limitation of valence bond theory. This is also important for examination point of view. Sometime one question arises, write the two limitations of valence bond theory. So here first two limitations are basically most important limitation of valence bond theory. First, it does not give quantitative interpretation of magnetic data. That means magnetic movement can be calculated from the unpaired electrons, but the variation of magnetic movement with temperature is not explained by valence bond theory. Second, it does not explain the color exhibited by coordination compound. That means why the color of coordination compound are shown. This cannot be explained by valence bond theory. So the above two limitation is most common limitation of valence bond theory. Now some other limitations of valence bond theory. Now third limitation is it does not give a quantitative interpretation of the thermodynamic or kinetic stability of coordination compound. Then it does not make exact prediction regarding the tetrahedral and square planar structure of 4 coordinate complex. That means if the coordination number is 4, so the complex will be tetrahedral or square planar. This have no idea about this. Then it does not distinguish between weak and strong ligands. That means some complex having the ligands which causes pairing of electrons, and some having the weak field ligands which do not cause the pairing of electrons. So that's why he will not distinguish between the weak and strong field ligands which causes pairing or not. Then it does not explain the splitting of central metal when ligand approach to it. That means he does not tell anything about the splitting of d orbitals. Now 7 point, it does not explain the excitation of electron from 3d to 4p orbitals take place in some cases but not in other cases, which is basically not logical in the absence of energy supplier. So these are some limitations of valence bond theory which you have to know for your board examinations. Nowadays students, self assessment test. So first questions are given here, that is write the IUPAC name, the state of hybridization, the shape and magnetic behavior of following complexes according to valence bond theory. So here some questions are given. So write the complex formula, their IUPAC name, find the state of hybridization, shape and magnetic behavior according to valence bond theory for all these compounds. Nowadays students, do all work in classwork copy, prepare a note with the help of PPT video. Stay safe, stay healthy and keep learning. Nowadays students, the theory of bonding in complex compound, two theories are completed. Now the last theory which you have to know, that crystal field theory, I will discuss in the next part of Unit 8 coordination compound. Thank you dear students.